What's up, everyone? Welcome to NBA Crunch Time. I am your host tonight, TJ Zwarich. We got a triple T formation here with two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We're going to need it tonight. If you started doing your research earlier in the day, throw it out, light it on fire, do whatever you got to do. You can't use it anymore. We just got Alex Sarr ruled out. We just got Kevin Huerter ruled out. 20 minutes ago, we got Domantas Sabonis downgraded to questionable. Guess what? He's out too. And so we're here to help you break it all down. I got my guy Tim Buell joining me. Tasteful Tides. How you doing, Tim?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I was just talking to you guys pre-show that I did about, 90 minutes to 2 hours of pre-show work on this slate just to make sure I had everything in order. I was just starting to build teams. And then as soon as I saw the Sarr news, but then as soon as I saw that Sabonis was questionable, I was like, he's going to sit. It's like everything that I've done is just going to be ruined. And I don't, and now we've got Kevin Huerter's out. We've got Sabonis out. We did at least get Malik Monk in, but yeah, we got a ton of news that we're going to have to break down. And we still have to wait on projections to update regarding all this kind of just this brand new news.
Malik Monk officially ruled in, and we got Taylor Smith joining us as well. Taylor, you're a soft-spoken guy, but you inspired me pre-show. We're talking about how chaotic this slate is. Everybody's getting ruled out, and Taylor just goes, that's why we're here. And you know what? That is why we're here, to help everybody break this down in the crunch time, in the last hour before lock. And so, Taylor, I was kind of tired. You got me fired up. How you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty well. There's a lot on this slate that looks familiar, including the Miami-Chicago game that we've had 3 times in a row, including last night. And the Bulls, again, are without many guys, though a couple are back who missed last night. But yeah, we've had like Michael Porter ruled out, Keontae George ruled out, Austin Reeves, I think, is probably playing. James Harden ruled out. Norm Powell ruled out. There's all sorts of stuff going on. So luckily we have an hour to figure it out, see what else breaks, because I'm sure there will be more on the way.
Let's start diving into it. I was going to say no sense given like the overview, since there is so much news that just dropped. Let's just dive into it. But we got an hour for 6 games. We might as well still do our overview first here. Taylor, how do you plan on attacking this slate? As gross as it is, one of the things that I really like is I feel like there are 3 games that I'm not ignoring, but I'm just like at most sprinkling in, while the other 3 are the big targets.
Yeah, there are a few we can ignore. Brooklyn, Detroit, I think, is the one that I have the least interest in. I think the field will agree. Even without Porter, it's like, do you really want to play Nets against the Pistons? Probably not. Maybe except for a couple of guys. Utah's on the slate, which is always noteworthy because they are just insanely bad defensively. They play fast. They're playing Toronto, so the Raptors are going to be pretty important to the slate. Originally, I was not really getting to the Clippers-Phoenix game, but without Harden and Booker and now Jalen Green, I think there is some value there on both sides. So it's not as bad as it looked earlier. And then Lakers-Knicks is kind of this other game that's like sort of a leftover, but there are some high upside tournament plays, obviously, on both sides. So there's kind of something for everybody, except probably the Detroit to Brooklyn game.
I don't think Luka Doncic is going to be as low owned as we're projecting, especially now that we got like Kevin Huerter out and some more value opening up in that first game. The Huerter thing seems minor, but now those 3K Chicago guys are kind of in play again. They also just cut Javon Carter to make room for Dario Saric in a trade. He's not going to play, but they just wanted those 2nd-round picks. So Luka Doncic, not going to go quite as low owned as I think we're currently projecting. Like, he's not going to be 3% owned, but probably sub 15, sub 20. And I do really like him as a spend up with all of this cheap value in that game. So it's kind of like you said, I don't want to ignore the Knicks and the Lakers, but outside of Luka, don't have a ton of interest in that one. Detroit and Brooklyn, don't think we really got to get there much. So we can really focus on this trio of games: Sacramento, Washington, Utah, Toronto, Chicago, Miami, with lots and lots of fantasy goodness. Tim, starting with the point guard position, or if you have any type of overview, feel free to start there as well. Chat, we'll get your questions after we go position by position. I'll go to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat first. I will go to the YouTube chat second. YouTube, all we ask is that you smash that like button. We got a lively chat today. I'm feeling a little more energetic than usual. Let's hit that like button for free content on a Sunday, our first Sunday crunch time of the NBA season. No NFL football, of course, this Sunday, and so we'll have a lot more of these coming. First one of the year. Smash that like button. Tim, DraftKings point guard, who do you got?
Yeah, so like I said, we are still going to be kind of waiting for some projections to update given some of this most recent news. I do agree that, due to some of this value that has sprung up, that I think that Luka Doncic is going to be not chalky, but I don't think he's going to be super contrarian. Like earlier in the day, he was showing at like 1 or 2%. I do expect that to climb now just because of some of this value that we got. And so he's going to become much, much easier to play. So just do keep that in mind. Io DeSumo at 5,600. We just lost Kevin Huerter. This Chicago team is very, very thin. So, he's definitely going to be somebody that's going to be popping a ton in optimals. He's somebody that we should be getting to, I think, in cash games. He fills the position. He's point guard and shooting guard eligible. So he's obviously a fantastic play. Still far too cheap on DK. Malik Monk, now that Sabonis is officially ruled out, he's another point guard, shooting guard, 4,800. Very, really, really, really strong play. So Luka on the high end, Io DeSumo, Malik Monk, I think are really strong plays. Chris Dunn, James Harden is out. I think Chris Dunn is somebody that we can absolutely get to in GPPs. Probably will be a lower owned kind of pivot away from Malik Monk, but I think that you could conceivably play all of Io, Malik Monk, and Chris Dunn in the same team. I think that's okay as well. I think he's a really, really strong value. And then Emmanuel Quickly at 7,100. We love to stream against the Jazz, so I think Quickly is worth some shots in GPPs.
All right, Taylor, how about you? Who you got at DraftKings on point guard? On DraftKings at point guard. Flip those prepositions.
Yeah, I think Monk, now that we know he's in, like they don't have Schroeder, who they traded. They don't have Ellis, who they traded. They don't have Russell Westbrook, and now Sabonis is out. Like they just don't have bodies. They don't have guards, especially. So Monk has been sort of doghoused a lot this season, but it's kind of hard to see how he doesn't play like upper 20s to low 30s minutes. I don't really care whether he starts. 4,800 point guard, shooting guard, just really hard to get away from that against the Wizards also. Another value, obviously, Io without Giddey and a host of others out. Kevin Huerter now for Chicago. Should start at the point. We saw him last night just fill it up in tons of minutes. Kobe White and Vooch are back now, so it's not quite the same situation, but it is Miami. So the pace should suit him well. Just a really good play at 5'6". On the higher end, you have Luka, of course. Reeves being back doesn't really matter, I don't think. He'll probably be limited. He's been out for like over a month. Luka just kind of speaks for himself. I don't think he's necessary. There is a lot of mid-range stuff that I like on the slate. Still a great play, obviously, every single night. Brunson on the other side of the game is a little cheap, 8,300. He's been kind of mediocre, but price is really low. We've paid mid-9s for Brunson before. Lakers aren't really good defensively. I have a lot of interest in him at reasonably limited ownership. Quickly, I think it's a great play. Just the Utah factor, of course. Washington is still without somebody that keeps Bub Barrington in the starting lineup. 5,800 on DK is pretty full. I think he's a bit cheaper on FanDuel. But Bub's been good. The minutes been pretty strong. I'm okay with that. I think one of a couple of favorite tournament plays are Isaiah Collier, priced up 6,200, but no Keontae. Should have a ton of minutes at the point for him. I don't think people are going to want to play him at that price point, but pretty good run back if you are playing on the Toronto side. And then Gordon with MP generally gets a usage boost. I said I didn't want to play a lot of Brooklyn and Detroit. and I still don't, but I think Diomin at 5K at what should be like 5% or lower ownership has a ceiling that's worth considering.
I like it. I got him in my pool here. People do get to see a little bit of a behind the scenes at my DraftKings pool. I haven't built the lineups yet, but these are going to be the guys I'm going to be going with. Take us over to shooting guard.
Yeah, so you have Monk, you have Io here. Keyshawn George without Star has been playing heavy minutes anyway. 700. The other side of that Sacramento game looks like a pretty strong play. Getting pricey, but there is a ceiling worth chasing. Josh Hart, I think, is a decent mid-range play. Shooting guard, small forward. Game should suit him pretty well. I think mentioned Lakers just really not being great defensively. So I don't mind that at 6'8" with good position eligibility. Brandon Ingram, just because it's Utah, 8K flat's totally fine. Kobe White, I think, should get a boost without Herter now, along with Giddey and Josh Jalen being out. So the minute should be fairly secure. 7,300 is kind of on the high end for what he's been doing minutes-wise, but I think there's still upside worth chasing. Grayson Allen's okay. 7K pretty full against the Clippers, but without Booker and Green, he should have a lot of the ball in his hands. Cam Thomas, I think, is okay if you want to fire that dart without Porter. Still under 5K. Pele Larson without Powell, solid. Davion's back, but they're still a bit thin on the wing without Hero as well. And then if you want a true punt with Miami, we saw Myron Gardner start last night and post a double-double. Not quite the same situation with Davion back necessarily. That's one body they'll have, but he's 3-1, shooting guard, small forward.
Jovic out though, so that does add a potential.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
That's a good call. Yeah, that's a good point. I think he's not safe at all, but he is 3-1. So if something there, he's the one I would roll with.
I played a ton of him last night and he smashed, but it didn't matter. And I played a ton of Ty Jerome after walk. When those guys were both starting, I swapped a ton of both of them, and I thought I was going to crush, but I didn't have any lineups that had either of those guys with Pele Larson, and Pele Larson ended up being the guy breaking the slate, so it didn't matter. Tim, how about you, shooting guard?
Yeah, I had a ton of that game too, and I didn't have any Pele Larson, but we can definitely play him today. He's projected for over 30 minutes, so he's definitely a strong play. We've talked about Malik Monk, we talked about Ayo DeSumo. Those are definitely your best point per dollar plays at the shooting guard position. Keyshawn George, I think, is super interesting for GPPs. We're going to be getting to a lot of that game now with Sabonis out and Sarr out, so. A lot of that game is going to be popping in optimals. I don't think Keyshawn George is going to be that popular. So I think he's a contrarian way of building into that game. So I think I do like him. Kobe White, I think he's a pretty strong play. We like that game in general. I think he hasn't flashed any sort of a ceiling, but I think it's there. The usage is definitely there. So I don't mind Kobe White. And then if you have the money, Brandon Ingram is okay. We just, like I said, we like to, stream against the Jazz. So he's completely fine, but likely I'm not going to go I'm probably not going to be having Ingram today. I'm probably if I spend up at shooting guard at all, it's going to be with Keyshawn or Kobe White.
All right, take us over to small forward.
Yeah, so James Harden is out. So Kawhi Leonard at 9,100, I think, is a really solid play. He's definitely, I think, pretty close to like a core play. I'll have to rerun some optimals, but he was definitely popping everywhere early in the day. Same thing with RJ Barrett at 6,100. But this whole small forward position it's pretty strong. I mean, we have value kind of everywhere now. I think getting to some of these Miami guys, Pele Larson, Jaime Jaquez, really, really strong plays. And then I think that, even somebody like DeMar DeRozan, as kind of gross as that seems, I think he's okay here in GPPs at least, just because that game should be really good. And then I think if you really need a couple value guys at small forward, like Nick Clifford or Isaac Okoro are both, or even Dalen Terry now, are all like really, really cheap options if you just want to punt the position.
I was gonna say, like with the Sacramento and Chicago guys, this projection update should be coming any second now, but hasn't yet. And so Dalen Terry is projected for 15.7 fantasy points. That's gonna go up because the Herder news hasn't come in yet. Same with DeMar DeRozan. His projection is gonna go up as soon as that Sabonis one comes in as well. Taylor, how about you? Who are you prioritizing at small forward?
Yeah, I have Kawhi tagged the core play just without having a huge bump in usage. Minutes have been coming up. I think they could come up further. 34 or something wouldn't be that shocking, even though he's more likely to play like 31. I still think for 9-1, given the role he has, he can still get there for you. Jaquez in the mid-range without Powell again, 6,100 looks pretty good. It was better when he had shooting guard small forward, but small forward, power forward's fine. RJ Barrett earlier looked like someone you definitely wanted to have just because he's 6,100, small forward facing Utah. I still think he's great, but you're not really that likely to see a huge minutes ceiling. I think 31, 32 is probably where he's capped. But still 6-1 cheap for RJ Barrett, leads the team in usage. I think he's still a good play. Dylan Brooks, 6,900 without Booker, gets a massive usage boost, like 37%, which is like, Kawhi territory without Harden. So 6,900, not the greatest matchup, but really like him in the same game as Kawhi. Punting with Terry is good. I think Gardner is a little more valuable just because he does have small forward, but Terry is the stone min, so that's helpful. Talked about Larson, talked about Hart. Nick Clifford, I think, is a good call with Sacramento just down tons of bodies. He's been playing pretty big minutes anyway. And DeMar DeRozan, I'm interested to see where his own comes in. Like, no Sabonis, no Russ, no Schroeder. That's a lot of usage suddenly available for him against the Wizards. Generally, his minutes ceiling is pretty high still. I think he's someone who could kind of slip through the cracks along with Dylan Brooks. I think they're both just awesome mid-range tournament plays.
All right, takes the power forward.
Yeah, so this is pretty strong also. Colin Boyle is someone that I liked a lot earlier. Again, he's just kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit with all this other value that's popped up. But he's starting for the Raptors without Pirtle. They're playing Utah, like we've talked about. So I think he still offers a ceiling at 5'9". Dylan Carlisle, without Sabonis, he's already been playing a pretty big role for the Kings. And again, it's the Wizards, a team we played bigs against every single night. He's also been very productive per minute, and he's 4,400 with power forward center. I think Carlisle is one of the better cheap plays on the whole slate at this point. Another one who's kind of sneaky, I think, in tournaments is probably John Collins at 5'5" without Harden. He's been playing well. They were kind of yo-yoing his minutes earlier in the season, but that's a pretty cheap salary for him, and there is usage available beyond just Kawhi and Zubats. So I think Collins can pretty easily pay off a 5'5" tag in this spot. Buzelis again, he's still 1K less on DK than he is on FanDuel. I think he's a great play again tonight. He's not going to be as popular as he was yesterday. I'm still fine with him, even with White and Vooch in the lineup. If you want to pay up, I think Scotty Barnes is another really strong tournament play with the other Raptors probably pulling more ownership as well. Again, earlier in the day, I think these Raptors were chalkier. I think now they're all a little bit less owned, which kind of limits the leverage you get with Barnes versus the others. But, obviously a great spot, and the minute would be very strong.
We did just get our update for Chicago and Sacramento, so hit the refresh, and the update will be there. I got it screen shared here right now. Tim, how about you? Power forward on DraftKings. Who do you like?
Yeah, so there's definitely that Miami-Chicago game. Buzelis, I think at 6,200 is a really strong play. Andrew Wiggins at 6K. Both are only power forward only, but I still think that they're really, really solid. So definitely going to be getting exposure to them. Colin Murray Boyles at 5,900. Again, just another one of these Toronto pieces that that we definitely want to attack here against Utah. I talked about DeMar DeRozan at small forward. I think you can play him in GPPs at power forward. I think he's a pretty decent play. Dylan Cardwell, TJ and I were talking about him pre-show. We have him projected for 25 minutes. I think he's a pretty strong value. I think he's somebody that might fly a little under the radar too in a game that we really like. So don't forget about him as like a salary saving piece. I do like him. It's not a great matchup for Danny Wolf, but I think at 4,900, he's okay. But I think I'd rather play Dylan Cardwell and just save the $500. And then if you really need a punt, I think Patrick Williams is okay at 3,200, but he would just be like a last piece kind of play for me. And then spend ups at the position, Scotty Barnes or LeBron or Lauri Markkanen. I don't think I'm going to get to any of them. Like I could see getting a sprinkle of Scotty Barnes here and there, but this is a position where I'm going to be either in the mid range or going like in that under 5K range.
All right, take us over to the center spot.
Yeah, so center is pretty interesting today. We do have some pretty solid plays, but I think that it's one of these two centers from this Washington-Sacramento game. I have not looked at optimals since we've refreshed, but I would imagine that Bagley and Maxime Reynon are going to be kind of everywhere.
Yeah, both of them projecting right around 28 fantasy points.
Yeah, so I'm assuming you're going to be playing at least one of those guys in cash games. You might be playing both. I'm not really sure, but either way, it's a fantastic game environment. If you combine those guys' ownership, it's going to be quite high. So if you don't play either one of those guys at the center position, like if you spend like Vucevic was going to be pretty popular, I think earlier in the day. I expect that ownership to come down now. Like if you spend up for like Bam or Vucevic, you're going to be getting a pretty nice ownership discount compared to what you were going to be, playing into just a few minutes ago. I think Jalen Duren in GPPs is a pretty solid play as well. And then I think, Bam is kind of interesting. I played him yesterday. He wasn't great. I think he's okay here though, just because that's a really good game stack. And I like I said, these two value centers are going to be so popular. I think Bam is going to be pretty contrarian.
I like it. Taylor, how about you? Center spot.
Yeah, I think a lot of lineups are going to be jamming Reyno and Bagley. And that, it's good. Like they're both cheap. They both offer ceilings. It's a great game environment. Both teams can't stop centers or anyone. So no issue with that. You are leaving a lot of high upside plays out of your lineup by playing them both. Not to say it's wrong to play them both, but there are a lot of other options. Like Vucevic, I think is amazing, especially on FanDuel. He's like a 7-3. I'm okay with Bam. We always talk about Bam. Same story, but great spot against Chicago yet again. Nurkic is expensive. I can't imagine anyone's playing him. But again, if you are playing a lot of Toronto and you need them to hit an ultimate ceiling, you probably need Utah to keep up. And I think Nurk, obviously we've seen a lot of ceiling from him over the last month. So I don't mind that in tournaments. Duren's a good tournament play. Towns, the minutes haven't been strong, but the Lakers with Ayton in the middle have really struggled also against centers. So I don't mind that. Jalen Duren I talked about briefly, but I think, and then Cardwell. I think Cardwell's you're probably playing him at power forward instead of center, but you can play him at center if you want to. And I think he's like a Tim kind of saying, probably a decent leverage play off of Reyno, who probably will be the chalkier of the two.
All right, let's make the flip over to DraftKings. Mr. Irrelevant in chat reminding people, smash that like button. More than 700 people watching. Not enough likes. We got to get these likes way up. Help us out. It's free content on a Sunday. All we ask is that you hit that like button. I also want to remind you about PickLabs. It's the newest RotoGrinders feature that lets you scan the best player prop and pick and bets in seconds. Everything's broken down for you from edges and win rates to value. It's a clean board showing which plays actually stand out across sportsbooks and sites like Underdog and Prize Picks. When you see something you like, PickLabs builds the slip and sends it straight to the book of your choice. You can find PickLabs at rotogrinders.com/PickLabs. You'll be wondering why this wasn't a thing already. Let's swap over to FanDuel. Taylor, you get first crack at point guard over here. We got 2 more games over here on FanDuel than we do on DraftKings. How you planning on attacking this one at point guard? Or I guess first off, because since Taylor did the DK overview, Tim, why don't you give us a little FanDuel overview on how this slate is different than it is on DraftKings?
Yeah, okay. So we're adding 2 more games. FanDuel's an 8-game slate. We're getting the Cleveland at Portland, and we're getting Oklahoma City Thunder at the Denver Nuggets. One of these games is super relevant to kind of DFS purposes. The other one I think is going to be good for watching purposes, but not as great for DFS purposes. So it's that this Cleveland game I think is still super relevant. Specifically, Donovan Mitchell in this really nice matchup against Portland. So he's somebody that we're gonna be touching on quite a bit here. I think on FanDuel, he's like the premium player that you're going to be adding to your exposures a ton here that you obviously cannot play on DK. Like he's like the biggest difference maker. And then obviously, SGA is important, and so is Jokic. I just don't think, at least Jokic, he's not going to be touching any of my stuff, at least in 3 max stuff. I don't think he would be touching my first 20 lineups either. SGA, I guess you can get exposure to at 11-3, but really it's this Cleveland game that really kind of changes the flavor of the slate really between the 2 sites.
Just had my first DraftKings build come in. 55% Bagley, 45% Raynaud, 45% Cardwell in these lineups. A lot of the bigs in that first game. Taylor, DraftKings point guard, who do you like?
Yeah, I think Mitchell is just an amazing play without Mobley, without Garland. They traded DeAndre Hunter last night. The new Cavs are not available tonight. So at 9,900, and also Portland doesn't have Drew Holiday, which is their best perimeter defender. So really awesome spot for Mitchell. Good bounce back opportunity. Like him a lot at 9.9. Bub Kingston, I talked about being a little cheaper on DK or on FanDuel than on DK. 5.4. Should have a pretty clear path to minutes without Trey Johnson. And then with Sarr out, that just kind of leads to more usage for everybody else. I think he's a pretty good play in that first game. White, Luka at the very high end, I think is fine. I don't mind taking the savings you get, $1,400 to go down to Shea in that Denver game. The thing with OKC is we're always worried about blowouts, and with Jokic back, I'm less concerned about that. OKC is just banged up and a bit shorthanded themselves. So I think Shea in tournaments is really good if Mitchell's going to be kind of the chalk spend at that position. Otherwise, I think Collier is solid. He's under 6K on FanDuel. Talked about Brunson on DK. Dealman is also 5K on FanDuel. And Quickly at 71, I think is totally fine.
We just got word Karis LeVert officially out. Marvin Bagley starting as expected for the Wizards. We got a weird lineup for the Miami Heat. Heat will start Mitchell, Fontecchio, Larson, Wiggins, Adebayo. And so Fontecchio starting at the 2 over Myron Gardner, who I think we did expect to start in this spot.
Yeah, we did. We had Gardner as a starter. So yeah.
You guys have any interest in Fontecchio? I think that takes Gardner out of play for me because assuming this game stays close, it's going to be Hawkes who closes over both of them.
And you can just play Dalen Terry for 100 less.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't be playing Myron Gardner today. No,
that takes Gardner out of play. I think it puts Fontecchio in play. Like if I bump him to 26 minutes, all of a sudden he does project pretty well. What do you guys think about him?
Yeah, he 26 is probably his max. But even that, like he's 4.2 on DK, power forward only.
Who was it,
Totally
TJ?
fine.
Who were you mentioning?
Fontecchio, since he's starting now.
Yeah, I'll have to look up his price. 4,200. I don't know. There's some other power forwards that I think I'd rather play. I mean, I guess he's okay.
I think
Not a
Cardwell. I
target,
would
but I
rather
think
play
he's fine
Cardwell.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all right.
All right, Taylor, take us over to shooting guard. Or hold on, I just got one more vibrate. Is that a Kings starting lineup? No, it is not. Raptors, as expected. Take us to shooting guard.
Okay, let's see. So Io again is shooting guard only, 6K flat, so he's a bit more expensive, but the role just should be very good in this Miami game. So still very into him. I think Jalen Tyson, just underpriced on FanDuel at 6'2", shooting guard, small forward, has a huge role without Hunter now, especially in addition to Mobley and Garland also being out. So kind of hard to get away from him, I think. Keyshawn's a good play, a little cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DK. Go for Grayson Allen. We talked about RJ 6K flat with guard forward on FanDuel, still a great play over here as well. Pele Larson under 5K. We saw him last night really go off in the same matchup. Dion, you can play in guard quickly. Kobe White, Dylan Brooks. There's a lot to like. It's a pretty good position tonight.
All right, Tim, how about you? Shooting guard on FanDuel.
Yeah, so you're definitely starting off with Malik Monk and Ayo Dosunmu. We talked about those guys quite a bit. RJ Barrett at 6K. He's shooting guard, small forward. He's probably better at small forward tonight, but I think he's definitely somebody that you should not be leaving off of your lineups tonight. Chris Dunn is another salary saving option at 4-4. I think Zach LaVine is okay at 5-7. We talked about Kobe White. Really solid play there. Pele Larson, again, we really like that game. So he's definitely somebody that we can get exposure to. Had a great game last night. I do think that if you're looking for somebody under 4K, Nick Clifford is a pretty solid GPP value tonight. And then, I don't know, Kaishan George, and I think that would really be it in terms of like a spend up, like GPP type play. And then assuming you already have Donovan Mitchell at point guard. But yeah, I'm locking in Donovan Mitchell kind of everywhere. So I'm just assuming everybody has him already at point guard. But if you don't, play him at shooting guard.
All right, take us to small forward.
Yeah, so Kawhi Leonard, 8,700 is really cheap over on FanDuel. So he's definitely, I see that Taylor already has him in lineup HQ as a core play. I completely agree with that. He would be another like foundational piece today. Some GPP spend ups. I think Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Lauri Markkanen, all really good high end plays. We talked about RJ Barrett. Definitely can add in Andrew Wiggins and Tommy Hawkes into this Miami Chicago game. And then the salary saving options, Zach LaVine, Dalen Terry, Pele Larson. So there's definitely quite a few plays here in the small forward, whether you want to go up or down. This is likely outside of Kawhi. I'm probably going to be kind of living in the value mid range here.
All right, Taylor, how about you? Small forward on FanDuel.
Yeah, Kawhi at the very top. 8,700 is just too cheap for this situation. It's kind of a trend. There are a lot of guys on FanDuel who are cheaper than they are on DK, which is kind of unusual, but a lot of value as a result. And then a lot of these guys we've already talked about at shooting guard: George, Allen, Tyson, Barrett, Brooks. I think Hawkes is still good at 6'5" with Miami's injury situation. Buzelis at 7'2" is getting there, and White back, but they are still down a couple other starters. So still a good spot. Minute should be secure. Miami leads the league in pace, as we know. Prefer Scotty to LeBron if I'm paying up. I'm not sure the ceiling LeBron offers. especially with Reeves back. I think Barnes against Utah is just a better play, higher upside play. Larson talked about a little bit. Anunoby, I think, is pretty good in tournaments, under 7K against this Lakers team that's not great defensively. Brandon Ingram, 7,900 looks a bit cheap. Fontecchio is here at 4-1. I think he's much more viable now that we know he's starting. And that probably does it. There's a lot to like here as well.
All right, takes the power forward.
The power forward, we see Kawhi again. We see Buzelis again. We see Jaquez again. We see Scotty again. We see Anunoby again. I think John Collins at 5-4, like I talked about DK, pretty strong play in mid-range. Doesn't look like he's popular at all. Wiggins, 6,300. I never feel that convicted to play Wiggins, but minute should be strong. Obviously, Chicago's a great matchup for him, so I'm okay with it. If you end on Chet Holmgren, Bam Adebayo, $100 apart. Matchup sets up better for Bam, but I would expect him to be the much more popular option of the two. So a pretty easy straight line pivot to Chet if you need the ownership discount. Jared Allen also 6,500. Power forward eligibility is nice on FanDuel. He gets a usage boost without Mobley and Garland and Hunter as well. And I don't think he's the one people are going to really gravitate toward, but we've seen ceiling out of him on occasion.
21 minutes to lock and still no Kings starting lineup. What a great organization.
Does it really affect it? Does it really affect it that much if Monk doesn't start? Does it really?
I'm also thinking about what if they go big and start Cardwell and Raynaud together? Then all of a sudden I want to delete my rule of only playing one of those guys. What if Cardwell happens to start over Raynaud? Like, just what if there are weird, wacky things? It's less about Monk to me because Monk is irrelevant if he starts or not. Mm-hmm. He's great either way. But I currently have a rule max 1 Raynaud and Cardwell, which I would change.
Kings are starting Clifford.
Clifford at the 1. I assume that's just the way that was
Levine,
listed weird. I assume it'll be Levine.
Yeah, Clifford, Levine, DeRozan, Precious, and Raynaud.
Yeah, so I still think that gives Raynaud a slight edge over Cardwell, but I like both of them today. Clifford, I don't think he's still just whatever. You can play him, but he's less of an interest to me than those other guys. Like,
are you into Precious at all?
Levine's FanDuel only for me. Precious, I have 5% of on DraftKings. And so, or actually, no, I think it might be a bit more than that. I think it might be about 15% because I think I included him in the one of Precious, Raynaud, Cardwell in every lineup, but that gave me 45% Raynaud, 40% Cardwell, 15% Precious. So have him, but nowhere near as much as the other guys. Monk great either way, and I don't have a lot of interest.
I would still play Monk in cash games for those of you who are asking. I would still play him. They're so thin. I mean, I would imagine he has to play. So I'd still play him.
Agreed.
Do you agree with that, Taylor? Do you agree with that, Taylor? Would you still play Monk in cash?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, they just don't have guards. Like, he should get 20 at a minimum. I think 25 to 30 is more likely. Minutes, that is.
And honestly, he's one of those guys that if I'm not playing him in tournaments, it's not because I think he fails. It's just like other guys could hit higher ceilings, but he's definitely the one that I like the best. Like, I have a tough time thinking Chris Dunn outscores Malik Monk today, but we will see. Other guys do have some abilities, put up some ceiling scores. Tim, I think you were on power forward, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so you're definitely still starting off with Kawhi. If you don't have him at small forward, you're going to be playing him at power forward. Bam is power forward eligible on FanDuel, 8,300. I think he's completely fine in any format. Brandon Ingram for GPPs, Scotty Barnes for GPPs, and then again we've got this mid-range of power forward plays: Buzelis, Wiggins, DeMar DeRozan. That I think are all really, really strong. Colin Murray Boyles, again, that mid-range is very strong tonight. So definitely getting to a couple of them in your teams. Precious is your kind of like salary saving option. I don't know if he's like absolutely necessary, but he is there at 4K, and he's okay. He's fine if you want to play him. I don't know if you necessarily have to have him or need that much salary saving, but he's there. So if you want to play him, I think that's completely fine.
All right, take us over to center.
Yeah, super similar to DK. We got Maxime Raynon. We've got Marvin Bagley. Bagley's 4.4. Raynon's 4K. They're both fantastic. I think that they are just really valuable salary saving pieces. I would pick one of these guys for cash games. I would pick one of these guys for single entry. I would probably lean Bagley, but it's super close between the two. And then Vucevic, I think, would be my favorite of the spend up options at center. Zubac at 6,300, I think, is a pretty interesting GPP play, especially now that we have these two value centers. So I think that's too cheap for him. So I think he's super intriguing play. I'm not getting to any Jokic. If anything, I'll be playing Bam at power forward if I do play him. And then I think Jalen Duren is okay at 7,500. And I think that would really just kind of round out my center pool.
All right, Taylor, how about you? Center on FanDuel.
Yeah, I think I prefer Bagley to Rayno also. Just the Wizards don't have that many big bodies. The Kings can at least play Cardwell and Precious if they want. I think they're both great plays. I think if I was playing one, it would be Bagley, though. Love Vooch as the pay up. I think Jokic is playable just because he's Jokic, and I think he put up 60 in like 25 minutes the other night. So like anything's possible with him. But 12K, it's kind of a tough sell on this slate. Zubats, I think at 6'3", looks pretty clearly underpriced. He hasn't been great this season, but Phoenix is an okay matchup for centers. He should get a little more usage without Harden. Talked about Collins at length in the same spot. I think you can also play Sandro if you're fading Colin Murray-Boyles. We've seen Sandro put up 50 off the bench this season in this role, and it's Utah. So if the game gets out of hand and he gets a little more blowout run and Murray-Boyles doesn't really get there into ownership, I think Sandro unowned is pretty interesting.
All right, if you got any questions get them into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. Get them into the YouTube chat. I'll go Discord first, YouTube second. All we ask is that you smash that like button. Tim, who you got tonight as your slate breaker before we get into some questions? Who you think takes everything down tonight?
Yeah, just kind of going over some of the options, trying to look for some kind of contrarian ceiling guys that I like tonight. I'm trying to figure out. So I think that I'm going to go with Kaishan George. He's at least going to be under 20%, I think, on DK. It might be a little bit higher than on FanDuel, maybe, but I like Kaishan George tonight.
I like it. Taylor, how about you? Who's taking everything down?
Let's see. I'm trying to find someone who's not egregiously popular. Dylan Brooks. I think Dylan Brooks is just kind of overlooked on this slate, and we've seen him put up 60 also very recently in the same situation. So let's go with that.
And I gotta say, I think Luka continues to be super intriguing. We currently, we started the show, he was at 2%. Now we're up to close to 15%. I don't think he's going to get steamed like over 20. So just, I think Luka's a super interesting play tonight.
Yeah, I ended with 40% Luka Doncic today, so I hope that you are correct. Wrote him up as my top contrarian play on the board in the expert survey as well. Very high on him tonight. And we'll hope Austin Reeves doesn't play, but even if he plays, I don't really care. He's probably going to be playing in the, somewhere in the 25-minute range. And so that's still a lot of time where he's not going to be on the court, where Luka's still going to be having to do everything. Going to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat for some questions. Then I'll go to YouTube. We got a lot of them filing in on YouTube, so we got lots of time. Good thing that we do so that we can hit them all. 2 questions from Rob G in the Discord chat. DK single entry. Taylor, you want Vucevic or Bam?
I'll take Vooch.
And then Tim, you want Kawhi or Scotty Barnes?
I'll go Kawhi.
Tim, from our guy, Carolina guy, favorite spend up on FanDuel and favorite low owned value. Who do you got?
I mean, if you're considering Donovan Mitchell spend up, I mean, he's definitely the guy. If you're looking for somebody super contrarian on FanDuel, it's Luka. I don't think he's going to be that highly owned, especially on FanDuel. And then what was the other question?
Favorite low owned value.
I will go with. I think Dalen Terry's pretty interesting.
That's
If
what I
you
was
need
going to say.
somebody-
He's not getting the
Dirt
type of ownership
dirt
that I was
cheap.
kind of expecting.
He's 4K. He's gonna play. I mean, I think that's pretty solid if he's gonna be that low owned.
I like that call as well. That was literally the name I had up on my screen that I was looking at when you said that. Taylor, Luka and Koulibaly or Brunson and Scotty Barnes, DK single entry.
Second one.
Yeah, as much as I liked Luka today, that second one looks a lot nicer. DK cashed him Dalen Terry and Luka Doncic or Kawhi Leonard and Zach LaVine.
I'd go Dalen Terry, Luka.
I think I would as well. DK GPP, Taylor, Hawkes or Buzelis, straight up.
That is very close. I think I would side with Hawkes, but flip a coin.
Can we run Luka back against Brunson tonight? DK single entry. I assume Luka's going to get a lot of Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby on him. I don't think it's going to be a lot of Brunson being forced to go one-on-one, but absolutely Luka, an incredible play for single entry today. Hit all of the Discord. If you got any more, keep funneling them in, and I will go back and check Discord. I'm going to scroll up on YouTube though, because we do have a lot of them. Favorite single entry player for DraftKings, Taylor?
Kawhi is someone I think you probably want.
Tim, Bam or Vooch?
Yeah, I think it's Vooch.
DK Cash, Taylor, you want Luka or no Luka?
For cash, it's pretty easy to get him now with all this value. I wouldn't say it's an absolute must because we talked about Kawhi and other kind of mid-range spends that you can get away with. I would lean against it as of now, against playing Luka, but I don't think it's bad either.
Tim, do you think Drew Smith is in play at all?
So I was kind of considering some of that early in the day, but now we just have so much value. Like, I don't think that's a good idea at all.
And Davion's back.
Yeah.
Taylor, Grayson Allen or Dylan Brooks on DK? I got a feeling I know who you're picking.
Yeah, it's Brooks. I think Allen's fine. I just think Brooks has the higher ceiling.
Tim, do you think Pelly Larson is going to be bad chalk tonight coming off his massive game?
I don't think he's going to be somewhat popular, but I don't think he's going to be super chalky. I think he's a completely fine play today.
Taylor, DK Cash, Brunson and Bam or Luka and Bagley?
Luka back.
A lot of people talk about Monk not starting. We're not worried about that. Monk in cash still, Monk in tournament still. Wonderful play on both of them. Precious or Fontecchio on FanDuel tonight, Tim?
I think it's Precious.
Travis in chat says, what about Yuki? We're only projecting 11 minutes for Yuki, so not somebody that I'm going to, but damn, he has put up some great point per minute performances. If that guy could actually get a few more minutes, he would probably look pretty good, but not getting there tonight. Only projecting for 11 minutes. DK GPP, Taylor, Cade and Hawkes or Luka and Caldwell? I assume that's Cardwell.
Cade and Hawkes, Luka, Cardwell.
Yeah.
Luka, Cardwell.
Is Drew Smith a good play with Davion back? We said no for that one. DK GPP, Tim, Fontecchio or Cardwell? They already have Reno.
Then I'd do Fontecchio in that case.
DK GPP, Reno or Bailey? Who has more upside, Taylor? I guess that's Ace Bailey. They're not really the same price tag, but who you got, Reno or Ace Bailey?
Definitely Reno.
Collier over Sensabaugh? Yes, absolutely. If you're picking between those two, is Gardner for Miami out of play? Yeah, he's out of play now that he's not in that starting lineup. Just not sure how many minutes he's going to get. He might be a DNP. Kawhi or Scotty Barnes? Straight up, Tim.
I'd go Kawhi. I like Kawhi.
FanDuel GPP, Taylor, you want Luka or SGA to build your lineup around?
I do think it's a good spot for SGA. I think Luka will be more popular. So if you do need someone lower owned, then Shea's good.
Isaiah Collier or Bub Carrington? FanDuel GPP, Tim.
I'd go Bub.
So I'm back to Discord here. I have a few of them more piling in. Don't worry, YouTube. I will get back to you before we hit lock here. FanDuel Cash, Tim. You want Precious and Kawhi or Levine and Buzelis?
Precious and Kawhi. Or who?
Levine Buzelis.
Yeah.
I guess Precious Kawhi.
Oh, sorry, it changed. So it'd be, he edited it. So it'd be RJ FanDuel Cash, Tim. RJ Barrett and Kawhi or Kaishawn George and Buzelis?
Oh, in cash, Barrett Kawhi, definitely. Like George, I love him, but he's not really like a cash game play, like he's a single entry large field play. He's just kind of like my hot take. He is in my primary DK team, but not my cash game team.
Eagles Nation, man, can you play Luka and Brunson together in the same lineup? Yes, absolutely. Nothing wrong with that at all in a single entry. Thoughts on Myron Gardner for GPPs for DraftKings? It's going to be a no now that he's not starting. Last piece, FanDuel GPP, Taylor. Jalen Tyson or Andrew Wiggins?
Jalen
Tyson for that one. Get a little bit different. DK GPP, Tim. Luka, Dylan Brooks, or Cade and Kawhi?
Go Luka, Dylan Brooks.
DK GPP, Taylor, you want Dalen Terry or Patrick Williams?
Terry. I have more of him. I think the injuries kind of suit him better.
5,100 on utility. Tim, who you want on DraftKings?
5,100 utility.
It's Monk if you don't already have Malik Monk, it is Malik Monk. But assuming they do have Monk, who would you go with?
Maybe Chris Dunn. Or eat the money and play if you don't have Bagley, eat the money and play Bagley.
DK GPP, Taylor, you want Kaishawn George or Jalen Brunson?
I think I would take Brunson. I think George will be a lot more popular.
Tim, what are your thoughts on a Knicks stack tonight, playing maybe two of Brunson, Towns, OG, Hart?
I guess it's okay. They fall pretty far down in terms of a stack for me, though. So I don't love it, but if that's what your intuition is telling you, I'm not saying no.
Is it safe to play Nurkic? I don't know if safe is ever a word for him, but we should feel pretty good about it because he is in that starting lineup. And usually those rest days for him, or I guess always, they've come from when he wasn't starting. So he's old. They're tanking. His minutes could always get cut. It's a GPP only play, but I don't think it's overly risky. Taylor, did you say you liked Yeoman in GPPs today?
I did. I think he's pretty awesome.
Taylor, sticking with you, Barrett or Hawkes?
Probably still Barrett, but it's close.
Yeoman and Duran, or Io and Quickly, Tim?
Io quickly.
Old School New York says he needs some FanDuel locks. Good thing Taylor has 5 core plays tagged over on FanDuel. Marvin Bagley, Malik Monk, Kawhi Leonard, Donovan Mitchell, and Io Dosunmu. 5 core plays over there. Bagley, Monk, Leonard, Mitchell, Dosunmu that you can start building your lineup around. Taylor, Yeoman or Middleton on FanDuel?
Yeoman.
Cardwell plus Monk, garbage time smash. I don't know how much garbage time those guys will play, but this whole game might be garbage time with these two teams, anyways. FanDuel
that whole game might just be garbage.
Yeah, exactly. 2 minutes left to lock. Lightning round. FanDuel single entry. Brooks, DeRozan, or Hawkes. Last piece, Taylor.
I think DeRozan. I really like Brooks though.
Am I missing something, or is it the typical Nurkic explosion spot? Yeah, I really like him for tournaments tonight. Question auto-corrected to Bagley to Bailey. Who do you got more upside, Taylor, Raynaud or Bagley? Strictly ceiling.
I think Bagley.
Dalen Terry or Fontecchio? Straight up raw points. Fontecchio point per dollar on DraftKings Terry, but straight up raw points. I think I like Fontecchio. Would you rather be overweight on Luka or Cade? DK GPPs cost considered. Luka, DeRozan or Jalen Tyson? Tim?
DeRozan.
Josh Hart or Dylan Brooks? Taylor?
Brooks.
Raynaud, Cardwell, or Bagley? I think we ranked them Bagley, Raynaud, and Cardwell last, but still like him for GPPs. Tobias Harris or Murray Boyles? Murray Boyles is 70% Monk in 150 DK GPP. Too much? No. Brunson and Bam or Kaishan and Kawhi? DK Cash, Tim?
Kawhi. I guess Kaishan Kawhi.
Bam or Buzelis, Tim or Taylor?
Pretty different salaries. I think Bam, probably.
Patrick Williams, DK single entry. No. FanDuel GPP. Tomlin and Raynaud or Precious and Bagley? Precious and Bagley for sure. I don't think we're playing Tomlin tonight. Achua and Levine or Monk and Wolf? Tim?
I'd go. Man, it's tough. I feel like people should be playing Monk tonight, so I guess I'd go Monk Wolf.
Pele, Cardwell, Barrett, Patrick Williams. That's Pele and Cardwell. Is having Luka, Scotty, and Nurkic worth having to play 3 players under 3,200? I think that's fine. You got Dalen Terry. Who would be your other ones that you'd be going to? Ooh, Terry's my only guy in the pool that cheap, so maybe
I was going to say, I don't know how you can do 3 under 32, because my answer to that question is no.
Yeah, I on the surface, I was thinking yes. If this was yesterday, I was thinking yes, but no, Dalen Terry is the only guy in my pool having that cheap. Falcons fan 07. Is whipped cream with hot cocoa with or without?
No, without.
I'm pro whipped cream. Tim, how about you? Break the tie.
I'm very pro whipped cream. I mean,
two against one. We are yes to the whipped cream. Shout out to Caveman Yogi saying first time watching. Thanks for doing this on a Sunday. Good luck. Thanks for tuning in, Caveman Yogi. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Is Hart a decent play tonight? Taylor, what do you think?
Yeah. Think he might go overlooked. He's always a guy with a ceiling, so no issue with that.
All right, that'll do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Good luck in all of your contests. We will see you next time. On behalf of myself, Tim, and Taylor, peace.